Eurovision 2018 2018, but only 9 countries sang today on day 3 of first rehearsals at Eurovision 2018 2018. Should we talk about it? Let's do this! Yes, today 9 more countries rehearsed, and they are Norway, Romania, Serbia, San Marino, Denmark, it's Russia, Moldova, the Netherlands, and Australia, honey. Down under to up top. We're gonna go around and do our biggest grower, our biggest disappointment, and our 2 winners. That is silver, that is gold, high energy. It's the end of the day, we're all exhausted. I'm trying to overcompensate. I'm gonna have a coffee in a minute. Let's do this. Oh, did we ever say let's do this?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yes, all right. So kicking it off, Porig, your biggest grower.
Well, see, today is a kind of a tough day because for me, it's been the weakest day of the 3 so far.
Definitely.
So I really have to think hard and long about who to pick, but ultimately it's Romania. Because Romania, I came in with 0 expectations. They were not quite the very bottom of my rankings out of all 43 songs, but they were very low. And today, while I still don't like the song, I really do like the performance, and they delivered a really exciting performance. And it was new and something different because we have several rock entries this year.
Yeah.
And we were it was starting to get a bit tired and jaded seeing this kind of Glastonbury effect because we'd Albania doing it, we had someone else I've forgotten, then Wayland was doing it later. So Romania decided, right, we're going to the shopping mall, we're taking all those dummies with us, we're plopping them there. Oh, there's the Halloween store, those masks look cool.
Yeah.
Plop. And they did it, but it looked really cool and innovative. It didn't look tacky, which it could easily have done.
Yeah.
And then they obviously looked back at their Selection Nationale performance and saw what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah.
The dress reveal was the most anticlimactic dress reveals in the history of dress reveals.
Totally.
That got binned. And then everything else, the singer was like one of the strong points because she was so beautiful, and they've really put the emphasis on her. And yeah, her vocals were on point. I'm never going to like the song. I don't like that genre in general, but I can appreciate it for what it is now, whereas before I couldn't tolerate it. But yeah, it's going into the final now, whereas beforehand I would have been saying that it was just going because it was Romania. Now it's going because of its own merits.
Porig, yet again, you read my mind, you read my heart. Romania is also my biggest grower. This looked really nice. One of the best stage performances, actually. One of the most creatively staged performances. Taking some mannequins that could be scary on their own, like Halloween Shop of Horrors, but then doing it in a very classy way. It almost felt like a museum piece, a performance art piece. This song is all about kind of humans losing their feeling and becoming devoid of emotion, becoming robots, crass, cold. So she's walking through all these dark black mannequins, but girl, Christina sees the light, wearing a beautiful plum dress, showing off her gorgeous right leg. I asked her about that. She said, honey, I didn't wake up like this. I had to work on it. She's doing some squats. You can watch that interview on wiwibloggs.com and on our YouTube channel. She's great. She's got energy. They sounded great. Their voices were never in question. She owned it. This has gone from being cheap discount bargain basement in Bucharest to becoming mainstream Selfridges, downtown London, like modern modernity, MoMA, you know, Paris, Louvre. Honey, they could all put this on as an exhibition. It is just so now, so current, and it makes me forget about the song. I'm still not a huge fan of the song, but when I see it in this context, I respect it, and that is very important because, you know, you can still dislike a song but really respect it, and I really respect this performance. I respect what they've done. They're going to the final. This has power in it, and actually their message I do find a bit more touching. Maybe I am falling in love with this song. Oh my God, what's happening to me? In any case, well done, Romania.
I think this is the first time that this has happened. And yeah, by the way, but I think we're all in agreement because Romania is my grower too. And it's very close to actually being in my top 2 actually for the day. But yeah, considering where this was, they've taken what could have been very cheap staging by hiring the mannequins, and it didn't work when was it DJ Bobo did it?
Totally.
Yeah, that didn't work for him, but for Romania, they've made it, and with the camera work, it really just connects, and I'm very, very impressed. There were going to be people who would appreciate this for the music because it's like dad rock, is what I call it. But now there will be people who get behind this for the staging, and I said it on the live stream, I think, but I think Romania's 100% qualification might be safe this year after all.
Whew, well, we agree on all of that, but will we agree on our biggest disappointment? Now remember, this is not necessarily a bad thing, because you can be disappointed in a song and still respect it and still think it's, quite good. In any event, Porig.
Well, I had many disappointments today, but I'm not going to go into all of them. But safe to say, my biggest disappointment is kind of based on this country's track record, and it would be Russia. Because Russia have had duds before as songs. We haven't had one for, I think their last dud, in my opinion, was the Tomachevi Sisters in 2014. And they got that, and they polished that rock into something close to a diamond, maybe a faux diamond.
Yeah,
but
cubic zirconia, honey.
But it worked, and they got into the top 10. So Yulia Samilova, I preferred the song to her failed entry last year, but I was never expecting to like it. But I thought that I could potentially be blown away by the staging. And we heard these things that it's going to be this fabulous mountain, and I didn't know in my head whether it was going to be a huge spectacle that I would love, or if it would be completely crazy and bury me like Belarus the other day and just be something fabulously camp and ridiculous. But it was none of those things. It was just a damn squib, because she was basically just sitting on a heap of chiffon, and there was a very weak, watery projection on her. Like it wasn't nothing was very definite, and all it did was make her have a faint bit of colour on it. Most of her was covered in shadow, and then there was all this messing around with the backing singers. Were they the ones singing out of tune? Was it Yulia singing out of tune? She said this, they said that. I don't know. Then, for whatever reason, they decided, okay, this song is all about Yulia and she can't break, but we'll add in two dancers that are completely irrelevant, and then they're doing their thing, their modern interpretive dance, and it doesn't add anything, it doesn't make sense in the context of the song. And then the cameraman decides that he's more interested in them than Yulia, and then it spends the bulk of the song not even looking at Yulia, and it's too dark. It's supposed to be a bright, empowering, uplifting song, and Russia is in the danger zone. It really is, and it's the first time that you can honestly say that, and that usually you can say, even if they have a poor entry, that they should be able to rely on their friends and neighbours, but I don't think even their friends and neighbours would be bothered saving this song.
All very interesting points. I actually interviewed Yulia Samilova, and I bumped into her two backing vocalists prior to interviewing Yulia Samilova just about an hour ago, but after we filmed our reaction. And they say that Yulia was having in-ear issues, and so that, because her verses sounded fine, but the chorus was a disaster, let's be honest. The chorus sounded horrific. But they say it was in-ear and perhaps the mixing, and the backing vocalist actually said if you watch the run-throughs again, they were getting slightly better. They have to work on this. They know they have to work on the mixing. The other issue with that camera being panned out, they said that's a mistake. They were not happy with that either. And that they've talked to the director or the producers and they are fixing it, so Yulia will be in more focus. She also has a second dress. She looks amazing already, serving that Fern Gully realness on top of a mountain, but they say they're going to test another thing, because we can all agree she looked beautiful. Yeah. The makeup was stunning. It was very feminine, but fairy feminine. Not very feminine, fairy feminine. I was loving it. In any case, she's not my biggest. I was disappointed, hand on heart, which I hate to say. But my biggest disappointment was actually the Netherlands. I had such high expectations to him. I didn't like the song initially. I saw him live at Eurovision in concert. I recognized what an amazing performer he is, that he does not need gimmickry, he does not need fireworks, he just needs that voice, that charisma, that uniqueness, that nerve, and that talent. That smoky voice is everything. He's got it. He won me over in Amsterdam. I said, he's going top 10, y'all. After Eurovision in concert, done, sold, signed, sealed, delivered. Unfortunately now, he's gone down what appears to be a blaxploitation route. His dancers, who are all black, are doing crumping, which of course is an empowering move performed by black youth, in America certainly. It's all about, kind of taking back control. That's why it's done. It's very violent. It looks like seizures to some people. But there's just something very uncomfortable, and I spoke with some Dutch journalists who said the exact same thing. This was not just in my head. This is something the Dutch public is also saying.
And this is the entire press room. It's not even just us. I mean, there are several people who are very much more outraged than us
completely
by this. So,
and putting race to the side, you can read more about that in our review. review of Wayland's performance, it just doesn't fit the genre. Country music does not have crunky.
No.
You know, this is mixing genres in a way that just doesn't work, and sadly has bad optics as well, because optics do matter. Even if it's not his intention, it's how people will perceive it, and you have to think about that. This is my biggest disappointment. It is salvageable. Get rid of everyone except for Wayland. Let him sing, he will slay, and then he will make an impact at Eurovision.
I mean, I probably would say Netherlands is my biggest disappointment, but for variety's sake, I would say that my second, and also it is up there, is Serbia, because I thought that Serbia was going to be kind of like the dark horse. I think it was underrated going in, particularly for me it was anyway, and I love that ethnic sound, the ethno, and then the mix that they've got going on. They make it more modern, but then that choreography was dated, everything about it just really fell flat. And I think that they could, again, they're one that they can fix it, just go back to what they were doing in Beovisia and just do that. And, you know, fair enough, you've got your extra backing singer, keep her around, but it just felt very forced now, and that natural kind of, they made very good use of the stage in Beovisia, and they didn't do it here, and that's why it went downhill for me.
All fair points. All right, we're moving on to our silver medal, our second place of the day. And Jessica Mauboy's song is playing, y'all, and my body is like moving. I don't know if they can hear it. Hopefully this directional mic is working. Porig, second place, please.
Well, for the last 2 days, I've kind of had a challenge to pick my top two and then to rank them, but I always have had a clear winner. Today, I have a top two. It's a top two by default, and both of them are kind of on equal pegging. But the song I'll just put on at number two purely because I like it. The song slightly less, but the performance is just as good as who I put at number one. But it's Moldova and My Lucky Day. The song, it's fine in small doses, but when I'm exposed to it too long, it's very grating. It's because it's so enthusiastic and in your face, but most people only hear it for 3 minutes, so it's fine. But the staging is inspired. And the staging is so memorable and it stands out, but it's simplistic yet highly intricate. And it's just the old school comedy elements to it, and it's like reviving the slapstick thing of the 20s, and there's the Scooby-Doo style elements in it, and the cheeky threesome story, or not threesome, but love triangle story going on, and then even like there's a lot of innuendo with the placement of body parts, and it works, and the performers are really good at doing that. Their facial expressions, they're very good at acting out the story. And their vocals were on point, their dance moves, their choreography was very slick, and they still kept some of the elements from the Selection Nationale. Like, I think the strongest element in Selection Nationale was when they do that kind of traditional dance and their arms are up in the air at the end, and they keep that, and that's kind of the climax. And it's fun, and this semi-final needs it, and it's fun, but it's unlike some of the other kind of more childish songs. It doesn't seem amateur like San Marino. It doesn't seem overly calculated like Norway. It seems like it's just natural, it's authentic, it's what DoReDos do, and it's true to them, and I think that the public at home will see that and vote for it.
Great act. My number two, it's actually really tough because I have one winner today. I have one clear winner, and the rest of them kind of bleed together. The thing is, I love Australia, but I think there's just a bit of work to do, and I think that could become my favorite, but it's not there yet. Look, I'm just going to say it. My number two is Norway. This is not a song that I like, and indeed this performance irritates me and grates on me, but it is memorable. All day I've been walking around saying scuba dooba dop bop, dooba dooba dooba, whatever he says, all day. And I remember the pyro. It's an incredibly, when you step back, it looks very simple. It's like a blue screen, and then there's digital effects on the screen. They work really well. I find it cheesy. I would never vote for this, but in what is a pretty weak day, this is memorable. This made an impact. I think he's definitely in with the shot to challenge, actually. There are people who are going to eat this up. It is what it is. I think he's got a lot of charisma. He looked at times, though, frustrated today. They're not angry. He wasn't angry, but there was you could tell he was really thinking and sizing things up, and something wasn't right, and he canceled his interviews afterwards. I don't know why, but there was some...
And he was very flustered even in the press conference that he had to be asked questions multiple times, and he was saying that his English was bad today, and we know that he
speaks perfect English.
Yeah. So, and even he looked flustered on stage, and he looked tired, so I don't know what was
He might be tired, jet lag, you never know. There might just be something, had a bad bad flight.
He was at Philip Kirkorov's birthday party last night briefly, but he left early, so I don't know if he left because he was tired or...
Yeah.
In any case, point of story is it was a great performance, and the producers at NRK should be very proud. We often talk about the artists, we have to talk about the producers, the people behind the stage show. They did a great job setting this up. It's very lively. It's expensive, but it's not tacky. You know, I feel like there's a lot of resource behind this, but it's smooth, and so you wouldn't necessarily know there's a lot of resource behind it. I just think it's a really well done performance.
So my number 2 is also Norway, pretty much for exactly the same reasons. I think there's a lot of people who are very negative about this song, and admittedly I was one of them for a while, but there's a lot of people I think in the Eurovision fandom particularly who are very, very anti this song. And I think you need to kind of look outside of that at times and think the Eurovision fandom is like 1 or 2% at most probably of the people who then watch Eurovision and vote. And that is the thing. The people who are outside of that will be like, Alexander Rybak, oh, he's back. Oh, look, he's got the violin halfway through the song. And it just builds up. It looks so good. Really, really good. Very good. Best use of the graphics, of the on-screen graphics. It's better than Eleni and Lithuania's, and they're the only 2 that I can really think of. But, yeah. I think that if this was him at like maybe 80%, judging by what else happened, then at 100% that could be a real threat to win. It is a threat to win at the end of the day, and fair play to him. He has come with a song that I don't personally like, but at the same time I respect the fact that he has written a song that is a potential Eurovision winner. Would do nothing outside of Eurovision. But at the same time, does that matter?
Absolutely. All right. It's time to go for gold, y'all. Number 1, who came out on top?
Yeah, well, like I said, it was by default. I'm not particularly pushed about the song, but it was the most kind of energetic and exciting and professionally slick performance, and that's Australia's Jessica Mauboy. Yeah, like her performance, it wasn't the most exciting thing we've seen ever at Eurovision. It's not the most exciting thing we've seen this week. It's not the most exciting thing we've seen today, but it was the most competent, I thought. No need to be making faces, Chris. And like it was like an X Factor style performance where the big guest comes in and they've like all like sold 1 million records, 5 platinum albums, blah blah blah, and she comes out and she does her thing. And the staging was good. It was very nice, and like I think it will stand out because it's quite simple, but yet it's very effective. And she has, like Rybak, she has a charisma because she's a well-established pop star. Like she's been doing this for 10 years now, more. And like she looks every inch the pop star. She's there in her dress. She has all her camera angles. She's not flustered by the camera going round, and she's able to do all her movements. And she makes her dress follow her. And she has the little dance moves, and her vocals don't falter once. And the song, I don't particularly like. I tolerate it. It's mid rankings with me. Like I forget what I gave it in We Were Jury, maybe 7 or something like that. But she elevates it live. And what else to say about it? It just looks slick and professional, and in a weekday, it stood out for me.
Yeah, if this was based just on the performer, I'd probably give it to her. I love her. I think they need to tighten what's around her, and they will do that. In any case, my winner, my number 1, is Moldova, DoReDos, backed by Philip Kirkorov. This is fantastic. I found out their stage show only cost 5,000 euros. 5,000 euros.
And yet looks more expensive than some of the other ones put together.
Yeah. I was talking to their team before our interview, which you can watch on the wiwibloggs YouTube channel, and it was just amazing. This has charisma, this has uniqueness, this has nerve, this has talent, this has life, this has energy, this has brightness. You do not need to spend 35,000 euros. You can just have charismatic performers who do some amazing facial expressions, who can sing, who can do a little bit of dancing, and then a creative concept. Moldovans are so creative. Consistently, Sunstroke Project, this, always a little wild and out there. This is outre, but not, it's more slapstick than outre, actually. This is not too far out there, so it's not going to put people off. It's not something you laugh at, it's something you laugh with. There's a fine line, and they have nailed it. A lot of rehearsals went into coming out of the right doors at the right time. Windows open, doors open. There are all these bodies, their limbs. It's a little saucy. We see pelvis on buttocks at one point, just a flash. They're deliberately provocative, but in a very tasteful way. This makes me smile. I want to see it again. I wish the performance videos were online so all of you could watch this for the full 3 minutes, because Dimitris Konstantinopoulos, and Philip Kirkorov. Sorry, I don't know why I had a brain freeze. They have frequently said in conversations that after the first chorus on a song contest, you need to do something, you need to mix it up to keep it interesting, because no matter how good the song is, it's going to get boring. And that's what this staging is doing. It is constantly building. You don't really know the full narrative till the end, or at least till the bridge. That bridge is great when they do. It's not river dance, it's Moldova dance. And you know what? I prefer Moldova dance. This is wild, this is crazy. It's just actually beautiful because it shows you do not have to be a wealthy country to deliver a sleek, amazing performance. This has more soul, more feeling, more heart than many of the Nordic countries we've seen, than many of the Western European countries we've seen. Budget doesn't have to limit you. Countries take note, go to Moldova and learn how it is done.
Number one, it's Moldova. Yeah, I think the fact that really gets me behind it is the fact that they've taken a staging concept that if you took the music away, you would get that staging. And that's really important. It tells the story and it's universal. You would understand that in any language, whether you speak English or anything like that, that is going to be understood by everyone. And then you've actually got quite a fun, happy song in the middle of it, and it's perfectly placed in the semi-final as well. It comes after Russia and Denmark, which are a bit slower, and yeah, I think it's absolutely a complete home run for Moldova. It's not going to win, but I don't think it'll do top 3, but I definitely think that top 10 is definitely within reach, and top 5 maybe even. This is the perfect follow-up to Sunstroke project, and it's kind of the same kind of wheelhouse, but there's an evolution, and again, staging concepts. You've got Aliona Moon, you've got Zdobji Dub, you've got Sunstroke, you've got all these like great Moldovan acts of the past. Horrid in Moldova. Which didn't need anything like fancy staging wise, but they had the dance, and they always have something. And more recently they weren't hitting it, but the past 2 years, this year and last year, it's right back to the Moldova of great old times, and I'm very happy about that.
You know what? Even when they came last with Christina Scarlett, she still ripped off her weave, and we still talk about it. That's why we love it.
Romanuta, like we remember that so much.
The stripper cops.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you forget? And also his silky long locks.
Falling Skies astronaut.
Oh my God, love that. That helmet should be in a museum. In any case, that is what we think on day 3. Oh, my phone just fell. Day 3 of the first rehearsals of Eurovision 2018. Who are your winners? Who are your losers? Who grew and who fell? Let us know here on wiwibloggs.
Make sure to subscribe so that you get all our action from tomorrow and every other day to come, and check in on the live stream as well.
Yeah.
And hit that like button.
Oh, and get your voice back. Poor thing.
This will at some point maybe come back. We'll see.
Oh, we will see y'all later. Bye.